What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have what it's like to live in a gated community in India from an American's perspective. Before we dive into the video, if you guys happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to smash subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive right in.
I'm going to have to learn two languages at the same time, both Hindi and Kannada, because my mother-in-law just came back to live with us now, and she will be very lonely if I don't even try to speak to her in Kannada.
This is Sarah, an American married to an Indian and living with her family in Bangalore. She shared why many Indians return to India after living abroad, the reason it's so easy for a Westerner to make friends with Indians, and whether India is a safe place for a foreign woman. I'm Max and I want to break misconceptions about India to the world. Let's do it together.
What's the best thing for you about living in India so far, like after a year plus here?
So community is definitely the best thing because it's so easy, and the way things are set up here, so we have an app for everything. You can get everything delivered within 5 minutes. But also the apps let people be we have WhatsApp groups and different groups to talk to our community members. So we can set up community groups and dance practices and the festivals. This particular community has a lot of kids, and there's a little patch in the grass where all the toddlers meet. And I have just several favorite families and kids that I meet all the time. So you just go out and you can find everything, and you can ask people for help all the time. So another thing is the fruits and vegetables. Another thing is how much dance is in the culture. Dance is so well done here. There's so many different styles of classical dance, and
Then you start dancing with Kathak?
yeah, it's called Kathak. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So Kathak uses these chain of bells that goes around your ankles. And so when you stomp, it makes a jingling noise. It uses a lot of hand gestures. What I just found just so amazing is every single time we have a festival here, they have to raise money to erect this stage. So they put a stage out. And the roster of all the performances gets filled up right away because there's so many women here that want to dance, and they have the little kids performing.
So they don't shy to dance. They're not shy.
No.
I absolutely love it so far. Just definitely love the community aspect of, right? It's easy to make friends. You got WhatsApp and all these different things for all these different groups. You can go and meet up, and then you got this little patch of grass where all the toddlers meet up. I freaking love that, where all the toddlers meet up. And it sounds just very community based, which I absolutely love.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. And it's just, there's just so many people that want to perform.
In some cultures, it's you start dancing or start singing, and people are like, maybe she doesn't know how to do it. But here it feels like everyone is doing it, and you kind of maybe feel more comfortable also trying.
Yeah. They see a white person on stage dancing and they love it, So even my neighbors are it's like, oh, you can even dance our dance. I mean, they're just, it's something to be proud of. So of course, if I saw a foreigner in America doing something very American and doing it well, I'd be like, oh, great, you like that part of American culture that we're so proud of. It's the same here.
What's your favorite festivals here?
Navratri. And there's some clips of that I have on my Instagram. It's Garba dancing and Dandiya. So the Dandiya is the sticks that you tap together, and you go like this, and you either cross like this or this way. So you dance in a really big circle, and you usually wear these really flowy dresses that are so embroidered and have multicolored. They look like it's like a gypsy style. So that kind of Garba dance comes from Rajasthan and Gujarat in the north. It is just the most lively, happy, it was so amazing. And what made it more amazing, though, is a lot of times people will have these festivals where they'll wear the costumes and they'll go out. But if they don't have the choreography down, it's not quite as fun because you do a couple of moves and then it's well, that's kind of all I got, We practiced every night for 3 weeks, every Monday through Friday for 3 weeks. So that's a lot of rehearsals.
Yeah.
And it was from 9 to 10, so it was kind of late too, you know? But so these are all my neighbors, and we just went outside and we went to our aerobics dance room. And I have a lot of good memories, and we'll probably do the same thing next year. And the people that did that, they could be either from that region, or actually that's one of the dance styles that people from all over India just love, because it's one of the most fun things. It's like a big community event where you make this big garba circle and you go in a circle. And then another one that they have is from Kerala. And I didn't get involved in it, but it was a huge event because for some reason, people in my development, there's a whole bunch of people from that area. It's the tip of India. And they have this really nice women's dance, and they got costumes like just for this one festival. Everybody got the same costume and the same dance. And it really just made me cry. It was so touching. Like, yeah. And apparently, you know, everybody at the rehearsal was speaking Malayalam, which is the Kerala language. So I'm not the only one that goes to rehearsals and dance class and doesn't understand what anybody else is saying, because my other friends are like, oh, I felt like you must feel every day, because I was like at their dance class and they were speaking a different language. So
you had your dance
That's so
performance.
cool though that like dance is such a huge part of India. There's so many different forms of dance, and there's so many big festivals or events where people get to dance and show off all these different forms of dancing to the point where it's shedding tears. Like, that's such a beautiful thing, and I believe dance is such an incredible way to express yourself, and to tell a story. And it sounds like India has that down pat, and that's beautiful.
Performances there? Oh, no.
yeah, we hit one. So we've had like 3 or 4, and a couple of the others, they erect a different stage, and they've used different parts of there's so many performances throughout the whole year.
Yeah, nice.
This is the snake season apparently, because they're breeding. They're hatching right now. So they like said, just be aware when you're walking around in case you see one. And
Okay.
yeah.
What kind of snakes?
I don't like that at all. See, nah.
You speak English, you speak Chinese, anything else?
German.
German.
Because I was
Because you're an
exchange
exchange student,
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And here is the new challenge. So,
It is.
yeah, are you like going to learn any like local language or Hindi?
Yes, and I'm a little bit ashamed, although I'm trying not to just, it is what it is. I'm at a different part of my life, so I'm taking it easy and going very slow. So the
That's
problem,
right.
yeah. I mean, you know, I am 50, so, but my measuring stick would be like my son
like late 30s to early 40s.
has to learn it in school. Okay. So in school, they're kind of making all of the kids in every school learn the local language, which is Kannada.
Yeah.
Okay.
But our family also speaks Telugu, and a lot of, so in this development, there's people speaking all different languages, but by far the most popular language here is Hindi.
Okay.
But that's like the native places where people speak Hindi are very far away from here. It's just that this is a bubble of privilege.
Okay.
I'm living in a bubble of privilege here. It's I mean, there are a lot of like upper class people in Bangalore because of the job situation and stuff like that. But this is the language thing is a huge conflict for me, because it doesn't have to be a conflict, but I just wanted to learn one language first, and I'm gonna have to learn 2 languages at the same time, both Hindi and Kannada, because my mother-in-law just came back to live with us now, and she will be very lonely if I don't even try to speak to her in Kannada. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And your son, how many languages?
So he also has to learn Kannada in school,
Yeah.
and then
He's already there.
Hindi is not, so they teach in English in like all of the schools. They teach in English, which is actually kind of disappointing, because we want him to have the language environment to like immersion environment.
Yeah.
It's impossible, which is like, that's one of the big disappointments as a parent who wants to raise like a bicultural bilingual kid. Like, and in fact, it's really shocking, because I have friends, I mean, their kids might have been born in America or born in Canada, because they're very international here, but their kids don't speak their native languages at all. They only speak English, and they speak it pretty well. I mean, you know, they speak it maybe with a little bit of an Indian accent, but they're very fluent. But it's like, oh, what a pity you're not teaching your kids the native language. And there's no language environment, because in the playground here, they all speak English.
Yeah.
It's very uncommon to see even a group of kids speaking Hindi together or Kannada together. They are speaking English everywhere.
Yeah, I
Because
was
it's
kind of upset because I'm half Hispanic, and I was like, "Mom, like, why don't you teach me like Spanish?" My grandma is very fluent in Spanish. My mom isn't as fluent as my grandma. She understands Spanish very well, but she doesn't speak it as well as my grandma does. But she knows some. I'm like, you could have taught me the bit that you knew, and at least I could understand it. Like, I would have loved to been bilingual, but all I know is English, and I tried learning Spanish through different apps. It's just harder. I've learned a decent amount, I'd say, but it's harder to learn through apps and stuff. You really feel like, I think, like she said, the best way to learn and become fluent is to immerse yourself in it in an environment where only that language is spoken. And I haven't had that opportunity. And it's not like, even when I'm using the apps, I can't practice conversations with anyone because no one I know speaks Spanish. But like, besides my mom, and she doesn't speak it like very fluently, and my grandma, and I don't talk on the phone a ton. So it's really hard to even practice, let alone be in an immersive environment.
it's a hodgepodge of like people from all over India, and so the common language is English.
But I guess maybe it's because of this residential area that, as you said, is more like upscale.
Yeah.
Like, so if you go like outside, maybe kids don't speak English.
No, they would be speaking Kannada. Yeah. But they wouldn't have the nice playground that we have here or the swimming pool we have here.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I tried exactly that with my older son. I have a son who's 24, and he grew up in China in America.
Okay.
I tried socializing him with kids that don't speak English.
Yeah.
He just didn't have as much in common because they grew up so differently, and they like different toys and watch different things on TV. So I know better now. Like, I wouldn't mind trying that, like if they were just going to play sports together. I mean, it depends. I mean, if the kids are playing sports or something like that, I guess what I've learned as a parent, like the second time around raising another kid, is like you can't push that. You especially can't push languages or culture on kids. Like, they're going to absorb it socially.
Yeah, my daughter is 7, and she's bilingual English and Russian.
Oh, good.
But so because she go to school, it's like, but okay, her school is bilingual program, but it's English and Chinese section. English.
Oh, I say it's Chinese. Oh, cool, nice.
Singapore. So basically, we hope that by 12, by the end of primary, she will be like fluent in Chinese.
Nice.
But then like English is like native language, Russian also native because we speak Russian at home. But we need to put like more effort for her to be like really good in Russian, like know how to write, to know how to like do the stuff that we do. But yeah, that's great. It gives you so much more opportunities for the future life.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and for brain development too.
For the brain development.
Yeah.
Especially for the languages that are different from like your language group. Let's say if it's English plus German plus, I don't know, Spanish, it's kind of more similar.
Yep.
But then you start learning Chinese, it's like completely different, right?
Yeah.
Logic. Your social circle is Indian, like more with international background. And so many of them, they actually come back to India. So why is the reason? Why people like coming back after living in Europe, in the US, somewhere else?
That's a good question.
Why they decide, okay, I come to India for work, for career, for business?
I think the number one reason would be family, to be close to your family when they're getting older.
Yeah.
In my particular family, we had really thought very carefully about having my mother-in-law live with us. And we thought, okay, it's not possible here in the winter because we had this bigger house in Massachusetts and we didn't even turn on the heat enough for it to be comfortable in the winter.
Yeah.
It was kind of... So we thought, okay, she can only really be here in the summer. And then I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't do it because even just the cooking and the food would have been difficult. She's a little bit of a picky eater, and she just wouldn't have been able to handle almost anything that we eat, like American food.
Okay.
So family functions. I know several people, like there's one family I know from Australia. They're 2 doctors. They make quite a bit of money. They have a nice house and everything. Beautiful life in Australia, in Melbourne. I mean, you can't beat that. You can go to the beaches and stuff. But they say you can't find community. Even there, you can't find community. And I've never even visited Australia before, but I have the same complaint about America. Like, it's just, it's really, really hard to build community and find
I
community.
would have thought Australia would have more community, be more community based, from because I react to a lot of videos about Australia, and they're a lot more community based than America. America, you're just not going to find community really. It's more individualism based. Every man for themselves, kind of. You got your circle of friends, and you kind of stick to that circle, but it's less of a community. In Australia, I would have thought that there was more community from videos that I've seen, but that's surprising. These doctors that moved, the Indians they don't really have the community.
And you have to have something that is forcing you together. So I think, religious communities can be good for that. They can bond people together. That I never found anything that interested me along those lines. So there are some like Desi communities that I heard about in the U.S. We were living outside of Boston, kind of to the northwest, and there's a new temple that came up there. Yeah. And what's really cool about temples all over the world is that they feed people. That's like one of the things that Hindu temples do. No matter where you are in the world, if there's a Hindu temple near you, you can bet that they have like a kitchen in the basement, like a canteen or something. Yeah. And sometimes they have the offerings and they'll just like give that away to people. But oftentimes they'll charge very minimal. It's like cheaper than, and it was so good. It's like some of the food that I ate in America at those temples is better than the food I've had here. Yeah. Really? But the one thing I found out is they had these like chess tournaments there. There's all these Desi kids, all these Indian kids going to chess tournaments in the basement of this temple. And there was like one Chinese kid one day, but there was no white kids there. And this is in Massachusetts, and they also had like a lot of music and dance, like that's a part of the Hindu culture, But one guy was telling us, we live in this development and they have like caretakers to take care of the grounds. And a lot of people that are like international families, they'll want to invest in these places that are condos where they're going to take care of the grounds so they can go back and forth without having to worry about mowing the lawn or clipping the bushes or whatever, Yeah. And then it's easier to rent out. But a lot of people hate it because the condo fees are so high. But the thing that we didn't think about is that because there's so many Indian families concentrated there, they got together and, they really push their kids academically. So do Chinese. And they just got together like with the parents. They were like, I can tutor the kids in this. I can tutor the kids in this. They were tutoring each other's kids in like playing chess. That's and cool. So, we didn't really get as a family. We were a mixed family, American mom, Indian dad. We didn't really get involved in an Indian community like that because we didn't live in a place that had our neighborhood was like a white neighborhood with a few minorities. But that's kind of like what we have here. Like people really get involved in each other's lives. We have like activities for the kids. There was a scavenger hunt that we had for Easter last year, and just the kids of all ages and the parents really, really get involved in like planning these events for the kids and games and stuff. It's really nice.
And here, was it difficult for you to find?
That's really cool to me. That sense of community is amazing. Like to where they all get together in this concentrated area, these families, and then they're all offering to help the kids in one way or another, in one subject or another. It's like, I can do this. Or somebody like, okay, I can tutor in this. Well, I can tutor in this. Just that sense of community where you feel like everybody pitches in and everybody succeeds together. And that's just an absolutely beautiful thing. And then, I don't think we have anywhere like that near where I live either. Any temples or anything like that either. That'd be cool to experience. That's awesome.
Friends, like your girlfriends that you have now?
Oh my God, not at all. It was like the easiest time that I've ever had in making friends. Yeah. And I think, maybe part of that comes from, being a little bit older. I'm like middle-aged, so I'm like super chill. Yeah. But the first friend that I made, the reason why she just like came right up to me at the playground is because she had lived in Canada for like 7 years before she had her daughter. her daughter was born in Canada. She came here she misses Canada so much. So she saw me, she thought, oh, that woman's either American or Canadian. And she was so happy to have a friend to talk to. So it's like, it's so funny because a lot of Indians here, they also have international experiences, but you can't see it. You can't like tell by looking at them. I'm like an advertisement, like, hello, I'm Miss International, you know? So like, I'm so obviously from another place.
Yeah.
So I am just very, very like grateful for that privilege. I'm very grateful. And I had the same thing happen to me in China. So it was not unexpected, but I love it. It's nice. It's very nice to get the attention. And so far I've never got attention that I haven't wanted, you know?
Yeah.
And I know like I do have some friends that were like, when I was living in Beijing, they wanted to visit India, but there were some rape incidents happening with women that were tourists and stuff. And they were like, what's up with India and stuff? So I know that I feel like China was a little bit safer in that regards. And I also know that my husband is a very cautious person. So he's going to be like so we only ever lived in the United States. So that's the other thing is like, I always have to check in with him. Like, okay, are you feeling okay with this? You know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll make him feel like I'm doing something that's not safe. Like just walking down the street to the market or something, you know, he'll call me just to make sure I'm okay.
You think it's safe? Like you feel safe here in the neighborhood, let's say?
Oh, in this neighborhood?
Yeah.
This is a gated community.
I mean, if you're out of this community, like you go to the street.
I'm not one of those worried people that thinks about that so much, but I know that there's more of a risk here. I have to kind of force myself to think of why it's not safe sometimes, but I just think of like how these very conservative-minded, like kind of men that might attack a woman, they're thinking that woman is enjoying this freedom that she shouldn't have. Let's give her some trouble for that, you know? And, or also it might be, you know, like so there's this really interesting dichotomies of race here having been a colonized country, you know, where you think there was always this thing of like the white people are upper class, you know, and that's like an achievement that I can never. So if someone is extremely disgruntled about that and wants to, you know, give it to a white person and I'm there, that could happen. So I mean, that's in my head. That's always there, but I don't feel scared. And I'm never, I guess, you know, I would never be in that situation because I would make my husband very nervous if I was. So
it's like she's not a person who worries about being unsafe, but she does have to actively think about certain things just to make sure she don't end up in a bad situation. And it sounds like her husband absolutely looks out for her as well. But in the gated community, seems extremely safe. When you step out of that, I think she still feels pretty safe to be able to go to the market or be able to go to different places without worrying about something happening to her. Of course, there are people everywhere in every country that would like to bring harm for no reason. But for the most part, I think from what I've seen, India is a pretty safe place. And I'm sure her community and neighborhood is pretty safe.
But if I were younger, like, because I'm older now, I'm okay with that, but I would hate that. Like, I definitely value like being really independent and don't tell me what to do kind of thing. Like,
I feel that.
If I want to go out at night and I'm going to take a cab and I'm just by myself and then I'm going to meet someone and then I'm going to go home by myself, let me do it, you know? Like, if I had a father or something like that, like, scold me or control me like that, I'd be very mad. And that's most Indian women's lives. Most Indian women have. So this is one thing that, you know, you were talking about what I talk about with my friends and stuff. That's one of the things, like, I definitely feel like having grown up as a Western person, especially at my age, like the young girls growing up now, it's much more a liberal attitude, but Bangalore can be a very conservative city as far as Hinduism and how do you be a good girl? How do you be a good boy? Drinking alcohol can be that was one of the big shocks. Like, I did not know that was like taboo for a lot of people. You just look like it's like It's like smoking where you're not supposed to be smoking. Like,
I feel that.
you wouldn't do that in front of your kids. Like, I went to a party, Diwali party in America, and I was like, okay, where's cocktails? You know, you got some mojitos or something like that, you know? And my husband's like, no, the kids are around, you know, they haven't gone to bed. I'm like, oh, okay. So we're not even like, I can't even have a glass of wine to relax. Like, but there's a lot of people that are like, you know, they don't think anything of it. So there's just so many different, like, you can't put everybody in a box at all.
How do you think life abroad changed you as a person? What you understood about yourself as an American after like so many years living not in the US?
I feel like the world is so big and America is so small. But having grown up in America, I felt like that was the world. And then there's some other countries out there far away, you know? And then I realized, oh my God, most of the people that live in the world is not at all America, you know?
Percent.
How you changed as a person?
I feel like that's definitely how I grew up thinking too. How a lot of Americans grew up thinking. We're not really taught about the rest of the world or informed about anything that's going on, and so we grow up basically thinking the United States is the world, like that everywhere else does things the exact same as the U.S. and like all the culture. And it's like, no, I haven't gotten to travel, but I've gotten to react to so many people who do get to travel in so many different countries, and you just see different cultures and different way things are done. And it's like, bro, like we are a small part of the world, but the world is massive, and we are not the entire world.
I definitely gained a lot more confidence. I identify now as a neurodiverse person. And when I say that, I don't feel like I'm very different from a lot of people, but it was awakening in a sense that, you know, like I've identified as ADHD for a long time, but like also having these like autistic tendencies or something like that in this whole neurodiverse thing. Now I understand why, you know, I daydream a little bit more, or I'm a little bit off center, and why I don't feel like I fit in all the time. And the fact that when I'm living abroad, that's camouflaged. It's totally camouflaged because I'm a foreigner. So you can't tell that I'm different in these other ways. So like kids are when you're growing up as a child, they're very keen on who might be different. And if you feel like you're different, your confidence takes a big hit, you know, if you have some weird things about you, you know. But like having red hair, I'm a red-haired person. I was weird because I'm a carrot top or whatever, and I always hated that. And as a grown-up, I love it, you know. So I guess like being a foreigner abroad and being a neurodiverse person, it helped me to think that I guess that it's not so bad in certain environments. And then it also taught me that, hey, that's all I need to do is really adjust my environment. I don't have to change who I am as a person. I just have to adjust my environment. So in my kata dancing class, when I'm like just focusing on the dancing and not listening at all to what she's saying, that's fine because, you know, she's speaking Hindi. I don't understand her anyway, you know, so otherwise it would have been too much for me to take in as a neurodiverse person.
The last one, what's the meaning of life for you?
For me, it's sharing things with people. Yeah. So, and sharing culture is a huge part of that.
If you want to hear more stories of
That was an absolutely great video, and I definitely love getting to hear her perspective in India. And I guess we only got a little bit about what it's like to live in a gated community, but it seems incredible. But y'all talk to me in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this video. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Check out the next one. I'll see y'all next time.